story we're about to share is a reminder that dreams are worth chasing, no matter the odds. When the Nigerian women's basketball team, the Tigers, landed in Paris for the 2024 Olympics, they carried with them the hope of a nation and the dreams of a continent. The journey was nothing short of inspirational, marked by resilience, determination, and a series of historical achievements which will be remembered for years to come. Wait a minute, we're getting to the meat of the matter with the big question. How did the D Tigers overcome both on-court challenge and off-court obstacles to make history as the first African team to reach Olympics basketball quarterfinals? And what does this journey signify for not only the future of basketball in Nigeria, but the whole of Africa? Hello, and welcome to Moments with All About Nigeria. I am your host, Romelia Esangbedo. The dialogue continues in a moment. Stay with us. Thank you for staying with us on Moments with All About Nigeria, where of course we'll be taking a look at the Tigers, a remarkable Olympic journey in Paris. Joining me now on set is a sports journalist, a colleague, and of course my friend, Stanley Ikawu. Good morning, Stanley.
Yeah, hi, Romelia.
Hey, so now we're here. This is a conversation we've always wanted to have, and I know that you also want to get into the conversation on individual sports, but that's not where we're going to be going just yet. We will give credit to whom credit is due.
Definitely.
And I don't think we can talk about the Olympics without mentioning the Tigers. I mean, what a journey, what a team. What a woman as a coach. I can go on and on and on. For you, what will be the highlights of the Deep Tigress journey in Paris?
First, once again, thank you for having me. That we played two of the best basketball playing nation in the world, and we were able to hold our own against all the odds. No disrespect now. The team looked disjointed, the team looked depleted. We had to hurriedly put some of these players together. Having qualified, and of course, the coach winning us our AfroBasket in Rwanda, the odds were on us. Now, we got to Paris. I think our fear started when we saw the draws. Oh, Australia, the third best female basketball playing nation in the world. Look at the Americans. They have a system that works. From the academy, what we call in Nigeria, a collegiate system that grows, nurtures, and promotes. There's a transition process in the American basketball system. Now, in America, they hardly take what we call football, soccer, seriously. It is either American football or basketball. They do hockey. And I think it's high time we started understanding that sports generally is a big business. We shouldn't focus on football alone. I told you something earlier today that football is saturated. Our sports ministers have always been ministers of football. Now let's leave that aside and talk about the heroics of these ladies. Against France, we were pegged back. Technically, physically, we were beaten to our game. Against all the odds, we defeated Australia. And Nigeria started having hope in the Tigers. We're like, oh, if this team can go ahead and beat Australia, then we can at least hold our own. We played against the Canadians. Emphatic victory. As in, it was a landslide. Whether 9 points or not, it was a landslide. Then came the Americans. Before the game against America in the quarterfinal, records were set, records were broken. Wakama breaking different records as a lady. A 32-year-old young lady lives in North Carolina in America, and you want to understand just one thing: where she's coming from, a system that works. In Nigeria, let's not forget that, from Rivers State. Now, it tells us one thing: how and when are we going to fix our system so we stop relying on players of Nigerian descent? Now, I'll give an instance. The training bonus of Team Nigeria, both the local ones, no disrespect now, and the foreign pros. Would you imagine that the foreign pros would get $5,000 while our indigenous players would get $1,000?
That's a huge imbalance.
You understand? And we've always talked about at least let's have some level of balance. Even if the local players won't get as much as their foreign counterparts, at least let there be some level of balance. If you're giving the foreign pros $5,000, why not make the local based player gets at least $2,000 or $3,000? $2,500 would not be too much for a local based player. Now, this also begs the question: how do you expect players to be committed to national duties? So let's take positives from the Tigers. They went, they saw, but they met a much more tactically, technically disciplined and fantastic side.
You've been talking about the technical part, the tactical part, and especially against the Americans.
Yeah.
I was telling you while we're discussing earlier, I said I was very afraid in the second half when we were losing almost 30 points. I think it was about 80 to 50, 40 something to 70, 44 to 70. And I was like, how are we going to catch up? And then I ran away and then came back.
You couldn't continue.
I couldn't because my heart was beating. And as I assumed every Nigerian's hearts were as well, and I came back. And by the time we came back, within how many minutes? By the time we came back in the third and the fourth, we had closed the gap and we lost 74 to 88. Had that game gone into extra time, the Americans would have had it rough and tough.
Well, I will agree with you to a large extent. We lost in the second and third quarter. We were able to bounce back in the fourth. How did we lose it? We couldn't steal balls from the Americans. We failed to convert 3-pointers. And as a basketball playing nation, when you look at the U.S. men's national basketball team, you look at Anthony Davis, you look at Steph Curry, Kevin Durant, LeBron James. These guys understand what 3-point means. If Steph Curry can close his eyes from one part of the court and give you a 3-point from any, that tells you how constant he has practiced it. Now, like I said earlier on, you can't rule away the fact that these ladies were put together hurriedly. Now, they've gone, they've seen, and to me, and of course to many Nigerians, we conquered. We conquered. Now, they were able to fight back in the fourth quarter, but it was too late. But then, better luck next time. I must say, they need to be given a heroic welcome, at least.
We must, and that's even why we're having this show, on All About Nigeria, Moments with It, because success, they say, has many parents, fathers, brothers, and sisters, and no one does not want to be successful, especially when that success has come from results of resilience, determination, and just sheer doggedness in just trying to beat the odds and just make a name and prove a point. The first African country to reach the quarterfinal. Remember, it was in 20 years ago, in 2004. That Nigeria scored in the female football in Athens. Am I right? Because you are the sports journalist, I'm not. I only know what I know. But it was then. It took us 20 years to now get to where we are now. Will it take us another 20 years to get to another, at least to surmount another?
Well, I think first we must be intentional. We must understand where our next target is. You've highlighted different records, which I completely allude to. All of a sudden, nobody is even talking about Tobiloba Amusan, Nigeria's biggest prospect going to the Olympics. We had Okoyori in the badminton sector, but the Tigers stole the show after their win against Australia, and Nigerians were like, okay, I think we have a sport that we can focus and concentrate on. Okay, what do we do against France? Physical. We are matched for strength. Technically, they got the better of us. We played against Canada, and it was a must win. And from the word go, Wakama told them, we can't afford to lose. Just like Ochiko, the MFM ladies basketball coach, you cannot afford to lose. Yes, you may not have your A game on your day, but at least work on those lapses, which was what they did. The error they made against France, the same errors they made against America, failing to convert 3 points. They made sure those errors were corrected going into the game against Canada. And the world was like, wow. So the Tigers can go this far, not just winning, getting to the quarterfinal for the first time. So Africa alone is celebrating the Tigers. FIBA also, I'm sure, definitely is celebrating the Tigers. Now, I kid you not, They come back to this country. I'm very sure the wife of the president would host them, because when you look at all these records, everybody wants to be associated with the Tigers.
Stanley, let's talk about the powerhouse we have in the D Tigers. I mean, who cannot talk about the coach? Let's start from the head. I mean, as always, you'd want to look at the person who's driving, the captain of this ship. I mean, she's no small woman, even though she's young.
Yeah.
She's been a player.
Yeah.
She's been through it all. She's seen the challenges of playing as for a country like Nigeria. She's seen the triumphs of playing for a country like America. And then she's able to motivate her team. The ladies, left, right, center. What a rear guard we have. Our defense is so tough. I can't even wait to get into that. But let's talk about Coach Rena Wakama. I mean, what a woman.
Well, I call her a joint task force lady.
She's a JTF.
You understand? I think it takes collective interest to achieve success. She wouldn't have achieved this. Like I said earlier on, the bulk of these players wouldn't have made the team. We already put these girls together. And determination, one, worked for us. Secondly, we knew we were going to the Olympic. We didn't want to just go and come back with the spirit of the game. Now, this was the same lady that won us the Afro basket in Africa.
And qualified us for the Olympics.
You understand? And the best thing that happened to us was the NBBF retaining this young lady. Now, the bulk of players she worked with, one would have thought that going to the Olympic, bulk of these players that made it, that qualified us, they didn't make it to the Olympic. But then, she was able to get the best hands. And she told them one thing: let's all put the interest of the country at heart. Let's understand that from here, we could get better and bigger offers. Now, let's play as a unit, as a team. And trust me, when you match, let me use the local balance, our local technicality here, coupled with the one she learned right there in the United States. Remember I said something earlier on, that there's a system, a collegiate system, that nurtures young basketballers from the grassroots. They transit from one level, one stage to another. And when they get to that big stage, definitely you don't expect them to do anything less other than just win and sweep people apart. Now, the American ladies will be playing, definitely will be playing in the finals. The American men will be playing in the finals. So it's a function of a system that works. Now, it's a good thing that she has gone, she's learned the ropes, and she brought that technicality. Yeah, form is temporary, class is permanent. The Americans showed class. But we must give it to Wakama.
We must give it to Wakama. I mean, we will continue to sing her praises. I know Nigerians, when we now begin our losing streak, the praises might not
doubt it.
You doubt it?
I doubt it.
I love that. I love that optimism. But let's not talk about the players themselves. You will give us their names. I'm starting with Ezinne, the woman of the match. I mean, against Canada, she ate up that pitch. Massive. I couldn't. 20 points in a row. And before we knew what was happening, she's now on the leaderboard as one of the top scorers.
Definitely.
Please tell us about her.
Well, she's one lady that has been there. Because it's an Olympic year, it comes every 4 years, just like the World Cup. Not an African Afro-basket that comes every 2 years. Now, every footballer, every basketballer, every sportsman or woman wants to play at the Olympic. They want to participate because it improves your CV. Neymar won the Olympic gold medal with Brazil. So if Neymar decides to retire today, he knows he has an Olympic gold medal. Novak Djokovic just won after 5 attempts against Carlos Alcaraz in tennis. Now, you saw the way he was celebrated. After 5 attempts, the man eventually laid his hands on that Olympic gold medal. So you know that what it does to you when you participate, and not just participating. If you eventually win a medal, you celebrate. We keep talking about the Atlanta 96 golden generation of Nigeria. I won't call them super eagles. They were called Dream Team. So from there, we started hearing Dream Team 1. I don't know if we're in Dream Team 25 now. So every sportsman and woman. In Morocco now, Ashraf Hakimi is there. In the French national team, football, there's Alexander Lacazette in that team. Michael Olise that just joined Bayern Munich in that. So every player knows the importance of participating at the Olympics. So I think it's a good thing. Yes, Stanley Ikawu, fantastic player. She had to coach, I want to be part of this. Balogun, another fantastic player. Musa, decent player. Pelas. So these are players that ordinarily on their day. If we had Adorai Lono and the likes in this team, trust me, some of these guys, some of these ladies would not have. You understand? Some of these ladies would not have made it to the Olympics. So it's a good thing that they were given an opportunity. I keep saying this. It's one thing for you to give a player an opportunity. It's another thing for that player to grab good and make judicious use with it. And that's what this lady has done. So, led by Stanley Ikawu, I think if he doesn't win the best basketball player in Africa, I don't think any other African female basketball player comes close.
What a run. What a run. I look at her and I'm exhausted for her. I'm like, how long can she keep going?
She's our Victor Osimhen in basketball.
She is.
She's our Victor Osimhen in basketball.
What a powerhouse.
Dedicated basketball player. Fully committed to national team.
She just lays her heart bare.
And even in the midst of the NBBF crisis, they were still able to hold their own. Put whatever problem it is.
I know we want to talk about the crisis and the challenges. But we'll get there because we had some bad news as we're preparing for the show right now. Lessons going forward for the Tigress, for the Nigerian Basketball Federation. And of course,
the sports ministry,
in general. I mean, we've heard stories in Paris from cycling, from boxing, from wrestling. I mean, our heart goes out to Odunayo. I mean, she against all odds too. She was ill, but still decided to participate, and she lost to the Chinese. But there is a particular story. There is a common denominator here, and that is just lack of preparedness. You're talking lack of funding. You're talking the sports federation, all the various individual sports not even paying heed, not paying attention to their athletes. And then it does seem like Olympics is 4 years away. We only just realized it's only Olympic is in August, in June. When are we going to stop all of these, and what exactly needs to be done?
Very simple. I said something earlier on. We must be intentional. First, early preparation matters a lot. I only want any apology, and I must say this. Over time, we've had ministers of football and non-ministers of sports. And I repeat, we've had ministers of football and non-ministers of sport. I can go down memory lane. Now, I think the last minister we had that was, to an extent, someone that loved sports generally, was way back in 1998. Now, you ask yourself, 1998 down to 2024. We started enjoying democracy in 1999, right? What has happened from 1999 to 2024? I said somewhere that our sport is gradually nosediving. Other African countries are beginning to catch up with us. That's because we've not been able to put our house in order. Number one, you look at the Nigerian Boxing Board of Control. What's their job? Sanction bouts. What exactly are the guys in charge of boxing doing? You find young Nigerians putting boxing bouts together just to do what? Take guys off the streets.
And develop that.
You understand? There's a whole lot of social vices right now. And sports remains one of the ways or two.
That's where America just leads.
Now, we have a whole lot of gangsters out there, hooligans out there, that have taken to drugs. Get them engaged. Now, that's one. There's no way you get them engaged if you don't create an enabling environment for this talent to thrive. Scotland is in Japan, rather went to Japan, fought, and he won. In Nigeria, also went to, I think, in Uganda or one other country, and he was robbed. The NBBLC wrote, and they brought the title back to him. Now, where are our boxers? Shemilore got banned because she tested positive to a banned substance. First, you must educate, enlighten, lecture, teach, bring them up to speed with the laws of the game. We have so many things we need to do. But like I said earlier on, the sports ministry must first ensure that it unites all the aggrieved federations. If this federation president is not fighting this president because of one or two interests best known to both of them, it's one president fighting. I think the only federation that looks sane, yes, and I repeat, sane, is the squash federation, and maybe to an extent the badminton federation. Boye Yoride is doing so much for badminton, but then with little funds to back all its effort up.
Funding is a
you understand? Now, once it gets to the year where Super Eagles will play, Romelia, in no distant time, the Super Eagles will take to the pitch again. The federal government will release budget. Someone showed me, a federation president showed me a letter he wrote to the sports minister. And the sports minister wrote in capital letter, no funds, get funds elsewhere. How do we grow our sport?
I mean, monies need to come in for this
We've
athletes to be
not,
able
we've
to
not,
train. I
we've
mean,
not,
you're
we've
even
not.
talking about nutrition. You're talking about having their welfare as well.
So,
I mean, those things. I mean, how do they make their living?
why do you think athletes will abandon Nigeria and go race for another country?
Okay, let's talk about the other athletes. We have
Yeah.
to go, but just quickly, it does look like we have to look again, yet again. We have to look forward to the Paralympics, so we can be on the board,
Yeah.
a medals board.
Yeah.
But we still have hope. I mean, long jump is still coming
It's a
for
brother and the
us.
likes.
After all, we had 1996, Chema Jua was the one who gave us the gold there. Essay, Promise, Rose. I mean, three Nigerians are
Yeah.
the people we're looking up to at this point
She
and
also won bronze
hoping
at the last
she
at
did.
the last Olympics.
Right now she stands with the timing and the meters hit so far. She's still in third place.
Yeah.
Two other athletes ahead of
Ahead of
her
her.
with the mark. She hasn't hit the eight point mark yet. Is there any? Do we? Are we going to get our bronze, or we should hit that eight and give us a silver?
Well,
Essay. That is.
whichever one comes, we'll celebrate. But as it stands, because we had hopes in Odwaya Adekore, no disrespect to our committed, dedicated to national team duties. As a Brumen, first dashed our hopes. Because if you won silver at the last Olympic, we were expecting that you do better at this year's Olympic. You couldn't even win bronze. Favor of feeling, a lady that qualified to race in the 100 meters, and name was omitted. Till date, the AFN has not said a word to that effect. The sports minister, I hope after this Olympic, head will roll. If not, I, Stanley Ikawu, will call on the sports minister and ask him to do the needful. That's number one. Number two is this. It's looking like possibly it might just be a improvement. But just the same way we had hopes in Olaya Adekore, blessing of Boro Dudu, favor of feeling.
Okay, pause on that. Pause on that.
I am still acting positive.
Pause on that pessimism, Stanley.
Yeah.
All right, so Esther Brumer still keeps the touch,
Okay.
and late, and then let's just hope that something will come from SA. Otherwise, I mean, what is showing the Tigress has given us this period. I talk about them and I have a huge smile on my face because when you see people who are really fighting for what they believe in with the Nigerian jersey on. I'm only just trying to be, a sports person today. I don't think I can run as fast as Izine is. I mean, but you see a team so dedicated.
Definitely.
The Super Falcons think they have a good showing this time around as well, and that really, really was a sad thing to see, a sad narrative to see how the Super Falcons have just gone, nosedived. As if I want to borrow
That's the
your
word.
word,
That's the word.
you like to use that word. I mean, it's sad to see that every sports Nigeria has at least been a pallbearer for now will become, that. Oh.
Well, I'll say this. We started making mistakes in our football when the Secretary General, who is supposed to document for Nigeria everything we do, will come out and tell us what tactics we should deploy to play. Ask me if the Secretary General of the Nigeria Football Federation has either a UEFA or CAF licensed coaching certificate. What does he know about technicality? Yes, he may have been there for long, but then it still doesn't guarantee that he knows more than the coaches. That's number one. Number two, when are we going to start appointing quality coaches to take over the job of the Super Eagles? You get so generally our national team. You talked about the Falcons. We need to overhaul, and I repeat, overhaul the Super Falcons. Keep bulk of those younger ladies and see how we can go from there.
And see how we can go from there. So, your opinion, if we put our houses in order, we will be able to at least surmount each and every of these obstacles that we have.
Stronger.
All right. Any parting words? I mean, for Nigerians, I know that there are so many young ones who, I mean, as I do too in my house. I remember as soon as the Tigress won Canada, I called my daughter in school and I said, "Go back and play that basketball. If I see you play any other game, basketball is where you should be. And I know there's so many parents like that as
Yeah.
well who now are pushing their children, into sports. But when they hear stories of how Nigeria treats them, and even when they get outside, the international bodies that's supposed to be taking care of them take a leave from what is being done to them at home. I mean, we saw that with the Tigress in France. How do we encourage Nigerians to just keep pushing and keep going until they're able to at least find that light at the end of the tunnel?
Well, passion, desire, drive. Those are the three things. Once you have those three things pushing you, and there's a target, there's a goal, you are aiming at something, I think nothing should deter you. I give kudos to all our athletes, the contingent that went to Paris. It's just so unfortunate that the level of preparedness was not top notch. But in the midst of all of that, they gave their all. Just that wasn't just good enough. The last thing to leave a man, like they say, is hope. We hope for a better Nigeria. We hope for a better sports structure that would help improve the technicalities of these coaches and the players. You understand? Because if you don't train the trainer, there's nothing the players or athletes would learn. So they say, what you know is what you know. Always do what? Learn a new thing. You understand? And we can't keep doing the same thing and expect a different result. We've done the same thing. That Niger spirit, you're putting on the jersey of the Super Eagles of Nigeria because we believe that Niger spirit, no, they feel us.
How I searched for the basketball jersey. I was like,
Don't worry,
okay,
I'll
all of you are not
get
playing
it- I'll get
basketball.
it
What
one.
is wrong now? Okay, just give me my
I'll get
my
you- I'll get
Nigerian
you one.
jersey. Thank you.
I'll get
Thank
you
you
one.
so much, Stanley.
I'll get you
Always
one.
a pleasure to just
Always
do
a
this
delight.
with you.
Always a
And
delight.
it's interesting to see that we also have sport journalists like you who are also holding all of the sporting officials accountable,
Definitely.
asking that the best thing be done, asking that heads must roll when things are not done properly. Thank you so much, Stanley.
Always a pleasure,
Thank you.
Romelia.
Stanley Ikawu here, sports journalist who's also been helping to talk to us about the Tigress and their remarkable journey in Paris and also in all the individual categories. We're still looking, just hope is still up for Essie to see what she can bring home. And of course, the Paralympians as well. We wish them all the very best. So, as the team returns home, they do so with their heads held high. I would. They have set new standards for African basketball and have inspired a new generation of athletes, I included. Their journey in Paris was not just about the games they played, but about the barriers they broke and the legacy they created. Remember that legacy. Thank you for joining us on this episode of Moments with All About Nigeria. Until next time, I am Romelia Esangbedo, urging you to stay informed and engaged.